terrifying, remarkable post-con experience?
After con.
Post-con depression or anything like that?
I understand. Strange, like an hour after the con, something strange.
Well, I was at like the first convention that Funimation sent us to was Comic-Con, and they put our booth right next to Wendy Pini's booth, and Wendy Pini is the creator of the series, comic book series ElfQuest. And I had been reading that since I was 14 years old. And also, she was one of my main influences on my drawing style. But I didn't know she was there, and people kept saying, "Oh, Wendy Pini, Wendy, where? She's right behind you." I was like, "Duh!" She was right there. And turns out she was a fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah!
So she started drawing pictures of our characters from the show. Well, she didn't know that I had 12 books published in comics myself, so I drew pictures of her characters and gave it back to her. And she looked at it, she said, "I didn't know you drew." And I said, "Yeah, I had a few books published." And she goes, "Do you want to draw for me?" And literally, the floor just fell, and I was just suspended in midair. It's like, huh? Is this a trick question? What's happening? And then, so I said yes. And then as soon as I left that, I could not believe what had happened. It didn't click in my head for weeks that this really happened. So that was my most remarkable experience at a convention.
And I actually have a remarkable story. Like, after I performed at one of the conventions I came to, there's one now, I'm sorry, it's been a lot. I got an email from somebody who, they told me, they said that they used to play piano all the time. They were classical trained, like concert pianist. And they said that they saw my piano, and I didn't know anything that happened to this girl, but apparently she fell, and when she fell, she severed part of her spine. And when she did, yeah, she lost the use of her thumbs. Like, she can't use them anymore. And ironically, she came to my panel and she saw me play. And I don't use my thumbs to play for piano. I taught myself how to play without them. Because I have this weird nerve thing, don't ask, it's horrible. Anyway, but just that she emailed me and she was crying. She said that, in an email, she said, "You have no idea what impact you had on my life." She's like, because of you, I decided to start playing piano again, because I saw that you could do it without your thumbs. I figured, well, I could do it too. And she goes, "I'm not great anymore, not like the way I was, but I can still play beautiful music. Can't open a jar, but I can still play beautiful music." And I was like, that was so sweet.
Well, I don't know if this is like remarkable or something, but I have a really hard time putting people's names to faces, even like actresses and actors and that sort of thing. And we were all having dinner one night when we were playing out in Boston, and just busy focusing on our food. And a couple guys come to the table. They started asking us questions like, "Oh, you guys in a band?" We're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing here in town." And they're like, "Oh, we're doing like this movie premiere. We don't know if they're gonna do the sequel, so if you could please go out and see it because we don't know if it's gonna do well or not." And it was the guys from Twilight, I guess. It's kind of funny because we're like, "Well, who are you?" We're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll try and make it, you know." And then they were like, "Yeah, you know, if you guys are playing in LA, we'll come down." And so it's just kind of funny, small world.
Yeah, at Pandemonium, I met this author lady that's over there, and she said, "I want you to create the clothes from the characters in my book, and there's a video game. And any day now, I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna wake up now." That would be great.
Thank you. I guess a really brief one. Anybody have a GPS? Note to self, always pack a map as a backup. I was in Virginia, going from Raleigh to Virginia, and I don't know if you've been back east, but the roads are like really close together, and there's a gazillion of them. And because we've taken a back road a couple of times, my GPS automatically routed me there. I was out in the middle of this huge thunderstorm. It was lightning. I could not hardly see the signs, and I could not find the main highway. I'm on these little tiny roads, and it was a horrifying and terrifying experience. So I've learned now to pack a backup map, not just your GPS.
Me too. Where am I?